Yet another of the farmhouse ales I grabbed from Packmule. This time it is a collaboration between Sig Brewing and Single Hill. This is Paper Canary, a dry hopped mixed culture grisette. Nice. Hey, welcome to another episode of Chewing the Brew. Paper Canary, right? Paper Canary. So I read up a little bit on this one, and this is, like I said, a collaboration between Single Hill and Sig, and it is using all Washington malts out of Yakima. Link malting, or Link malts, I think is the source of all the malts. And apparently Sig has been wanting to collab with Single Hill for some time, and so yeah, this was made in, the brew process was started in January, and then it took 3 months to finish it. Like, they did a rather extended brewing and then barreling process, but it's still only 3.8% ABV, which is pretty low for a barrel aged beer. I mean, I suppose, you know, your saisons and your other grisettes, your other farmhouse ales aren't necessarily high ABV bangers, but yeah, 4.5%, 5%, sometimes 6%, maybe even 7% aren't uncommon. So a 3.8 is definitely on the low side of any American beer. Ooh, spicy. Bright, almost like dry cider-like aroma. Definitely some tartness, but I think the spiciness is more the prevalent aroma. There are Brettanomyces yeast in this, so I'm expecting a decent amount of funk as well. And it'll be interesting to see how the lower ABV impacts the overall, the funkiness, the other flavors of this beer, because alcohol does carry a lot of the flavors and aromas. Yeah, and it's also about 3.8%. I'm expecting it to be really like crushable, drinkable, a real, you can just drink this. Not a savoring beer necessarily, because usually that means more flavor. I don't know. The wizards can wizard up their ways of making it both super flavorful and still very crushable and drinkable. I believe they used Pilsner malts, and that is quite light, but that's generally what you expect from a saison anyways, is generally a pretty pale color. Some cedar perhaps? Yeah, it just kind of reads into this nice, dry, almost cidery spiciness. That bodes well. Okay. Yeah. Herbal. Kind of nutty on the finish. Yeah. Yeah, so definitely, yeah, low ABV. It tastes low ABV. Not in a bad way, just, yeah. The spiciness, which I'm assuming is from the dry hop, mostly, and the slight funkiness of your mixed cultures and your Brettanomyces yeast make for this relatively complex initial taste. It lingers surprisingly well, and I'm guessing that's mostly the hops carrying that. Drink's very light. No residual sweetness to speak of. Very, very, very crisp. I think this is an excellent hot day beer. The nuttiness on the finish is really pronounced, which is kind of interesting. So you get kind of this spicy, slightly funky first bite, and then you're tasting the hops, and then your mouth, after you've swallowed it, your mouth is pretty much full of this really peanutty nuttiness. And then that slowly fades. It's still there a little bit, and it's just this really, really light hop that is still left behind. There's a small amount of tartness in there, which just keeps it interesting and kind of overall cranks up the refreshing character of the beer. This is an interesting beer. It's definitely drinkable. Like I said, hot day beer, you can throw this back. Even if it warms up a little bit, I think it wouldn't necessarily lose much of its refreshing character as it warmed. It would keep that, probably due to the herbal character of those hops. And I mean, definitely the bitterness would become more prevalent as it warmed, that's for certain. But just like it's not just the temperature of the beer that's refreshing, it's also the flavors and this really dry herbal hoppiness that carries it through. But having that funkiness of the Brettanomyces yeast helps make it more than just hops that are bringing this refreshing complexity at the beginning. And then the fact that it's not hanging around forever, you drink it, and then you're left with this really nice, pleasant hop finish, clean hop finish. Yeah, it works pretty well. The cider notes to the nose, I'm kind of wishing there was maybe just the slightest amount of some sweetness to it. But I think that's just me wishing, not really necessarily something that's needed in there. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm going to give this 3 stars. It's a tasty beer, and I'm enjoying it. This is me, Matthew. I have been drinking and enjoying Paper Canary, a dry-hopped mixed culture Brett Grisette, a collaboration between Sig Brewing and Single Hill Brewing. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side.